Hi there, welcome back. Welcome back to my office. My name is Johnny Fredman. I'm a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Oklahoma. Thanks again for checking in with us here at this issue of iLuminate. What I want to do this month is I would like to share with you a letter that I received from one of our subscribers. Obviously I don't want to use her real name, so let's just call her Shelly. So let me read to you just a little bit of what Shelly had to say. She says here in her letter, "Even though people love me, I still feel alone. I just keep telling myself that Jesus is with me, but I still feel alone inside." She was on to say, "I have contact with my friends, but I just don't feel like texting and waiting for a response. I just want to talk to people in person." She later on in her letter says, "I did feel like running away, but I also feel like the only thing I really want is just to be with kids my own age. I feel lost inside of me and I try to get back." She explains that her parents are out of town and she's been told she can't leave the house, so she cannot go out and be with her friends the way she wants to. And as she's talking about her parents, she says here at the end, "I've never told them how I felt. I just need someone by my side." Well, Shelly, I've responded to her via email as well. But as we've talked about in our emails, I'm going to share with you this month as well. She said a couple of very interesting things there in her letter. One thing that she said is that she knows Jesus is with her. That is a great thing to know because that's exactly true. God is always with us. As we go back to the Old Testament, we look at Deuteronomy 31:6. There we're told that God will never ever leave or forsake us. That was promised to the children of Israel back then, but in Hebrews 13:5, that exact passage is quoted, and we're told once again, God will never leave us or forsake us. I work with a lot of teenagers, and I hear this a lot, that I feel very alone. I remember back when I was a teenager, often feeling very alone, like no one understood, especially my parents. But Shelly, you keep talking to your parents. I know sometimes it seems like our parents don't listen, and unfortunately sometimes that is true. Parents are very busy with their lives and trying to pay the bills and trying to work and trying to do things that they feel like good parents need to do, and sometimes we as parents forget that what we need to do, number one, is raise our own children and teach them and help them to be faithful, godly Christian people. Unfortunately, we parents are not perfect. But teenagers don't give up on us. Keep giving us an opportunity to be the parents that we want to be and the parents we need to be. So even though you think we're not listening, maybe it's just that we don't agree with you, but don't give up on us. Keep giving us the opportunity to be there for you, to be the parents we want to be. But the other thing is, she talks about how she wants to be with kids her own age. And I understand this as well, because again, I hear this a lot and I remember those feelings, so I get that. And I think that's one of the great things about the church. You know, when God established the church, He did so for various reasons, but I really believe one of the reasons that God established us in the church is to be here for one another. There's a lot of passages in the New Testament especially that talk about encouraging one another and being there for one another, which is what Shelly's looking for. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, "Encourage one another and build one another up." Hebrews chapter 3 verse 13 says, "Exhort one another every day." Another translation that says, "Encourage each other daily." You see, we need each other. Perhaps you're familiar with the passage in Hebrews chapter 10, and oftentimes this passage I believe is misused because it says, "Do not forsake the assembling of yourselves together," or "not forsaking the assembling of yourselves together," depending on your translation. And we use this passage to say sometimes, well, you shouldn't miss church. And the reality is that's what that passage says, but the second part of that passage is even more powerful, I think, because it tells the why. It says, don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. Don't miss going to church. Why? It says, but encourage each other, and all the more as you see the day approaching. See, my friends, what we need is we need each other. We need, number one, to remember God is with us. God will never leave us. God will never forsake us, no matter how alone we feel. But number two, even on those days that we feel alone, we know God's there, but where do we turn? Where do we go? Well, we go to each other. We go to our brothers and sisters in Christ because we are the encouragement that we need. And I really appreciate Shelly for saying, I don't want to text. I don't want to wait for a response. I want to connect. I want to talk to another person. That's something our world is missing a lot of these days, is that connection, that talking face to face, on the phone, hearing another voice. Young people, I get texting. I text a lot. I receive a lot of texts. But don't ever lose the human touch. Don't ever lose connecting with another person. Because that's what Shelley says she's looking for. She's wanting and needing to connect to another person. I wonder if you might be that person. I wonder if you might be the person that she could connect to, or maybe you have a friend who's out there hurting and feeling alone, and you can connect with them. Encourage one another. I'll see you next time.